Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to round 3 of the OWLS Racing League here for Season 8. We are here tonight at the Madrid circuit. Our first time racing here at the Madrid circuit. Going to be a very interesting one for the drivers to make their way through the night. I am Josh Richards and I will be the one taking you through all of the action here tonight. But yeah, going to be a very, very interesting race here tonight. We'll have a quick look at our calendar as well. We can see we've had Singapore and Zandvoort so far. Tonight in Madrid, next week out in Jeddah, then we've got Interlagos, Montreal, Mexico, Baku, Bahrain, Shanghai, Miami and Suzuka rounding things out on the 30th of August. As for our driver standings, this is how things currently look. Puzant leading the way up at the top of the standings. Been a very, very strong start to the season for him. And then we have Cook in second place in the Aston Martin, Yari in third in the Audi, and then it's Quiet Boy, Leopold, Captain Foxy, Will Smooth, Antica Tompus, Liam Bearder and Joker rounding out your top 10. And then as for your Constructors' Championship, Ferrari currently leading the way on 41 points, Audi on 31 in second, Aston Martin, Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren, Williams, Alpine, Haas, Cadillac and Racing Bulls, with just Racing Bulls yet to get on the board at the moment. We are slowly but surely making our way in towards the qualifying session. Let's quickly jump over and have a look at the track map here for tonight. The first time a lot of people may be seeing this track potentially. 2 active aero zones, one heading down the start-finish straight and one heading down the straight towards turn number 5. That chicane going to be so crucial for the drivers. You can gain a lot of time if you can manage to carry the speed and cut that correctly. But yeah, a very interesting circuit. Very similar in certain parts to the likes of Sochi and Jeddah. It's kind of a bit of a mashup of those two circuits. But yeah, a very exciting one for the drivers, and I think something that is going to bring us a lot of excitement. But we will very quickly jump our way over trackside, as we do have, very slowly, hopefully some cars heading out onto the track. Let me just quickly get the track map up for you, and as we can see, a couple cars heading out onto the track. It is interestingly a bit of a split pit lane here. You can see just down in the bottom right hand corner, if we go over here, there is a bit of a split where we've just gone past here. There's quite a big gap between the cars, so it's actually a very long pit lane here, consisting of the entire start-finish straight and all the way up until turn 3 as well. Spits you out just on the right-hand side as you're making your way down this straight here. But here we go then. Unfortunately, my telemetry doesn't seem to want to play ball. I'm very quickly going to see if I can fix that just before we get on towards our laps though. Unfortunately, appears like my telemetry does not want to play ball, so we'll have to go without that for the time being. We'll jump over though to the drivers, first of which, New Panda making his way in towards turn number 22. Let's see what he can put down. Lots and lots of long straights, but also lots of places where you can recharge the battery around this circuit. The battery is so crucial on this game. If you can get it right in qualifying, could be potentially gaining you a good few tenths of a second. And let's see then, as we make our way down the second of 2 straight mode activation zones. This chicane for the driver is going to be such a crucial one in this qualifying session. You can cut it so much. You can see there as you jump over the curve, the lap staying valid, and that is crucial for Nuke Panda as they make their way towards the end of the first sector. A 27.2 is the time that we see here, and now into this very lovely section of flowing corners. Try and carry the speed, get the car rotated nicely, just about keep it off of the wall, and now flat out as we make our way through the banks. Turn number 12, keep it as low as you can to shorten the distance you make through the corner. And then hopefully you still have a little bit of battery left as you head your way in towards turn number 13. Another tricky corner where you've got to try and carry as much speed as possible, but that apex wall is just there as you reach the corner. Let's see now as we make our way towards turn number 17 now. Get the car rotated in nicely. Maybe could have cut that inside curve a little bit more, but looking like a pretty decent opening lap here for the Alpine drive as we make our way through turn 19 now and make our way on towards the brakes for turn number 20, coming towards the end of the lap here. Tricky corner 21, bit off camber. The car doesn't really want to turn in as you make your way through in towards the final corner now. And let's see where this lap will put us as we come across the line. It's a 1 minute 31.2, and then immediately Jari in the Audi, a 1 minute 30.0. So immediately setting that pace and putting himself 1.2 seconds clear up at the front of the field. The other Alpine that was invalidated, unfortunately. Sprint F1 to the top by 0.5 of a second at 30.0. Next is going to be one of the Williams drivers. The other one, Will Smooth, going third fastest on a 30.2, couple tenths off of his teammate. Who else do we have out there on laps? Let's have a look. Is that a Haas or is it a Cadillac? It is a Cadillac, in fact. It was Paulie going up to fourth fastest on a 30.7. Next, we've got VCarb as well as FaZe Monkey goes to the top with a 29.8. We'll have a quick look as Wash Leopold, invalidated, unfortunately, won't be improving on his time. The other McLaren of Billy Wiz across the line, he says a 31.5 to go seventh fastest. Got the Ferrari of Sinol, 34.0. Benoit, 32.3 for him. Next is the other Ferrari of Pesant, championship leader, goes fifth fastest on a 30.3. And then the Mercedes coming across the line, invalidated, I believe, not going to be improving. We'll jump over to the Audi of MH1463 as he makes his way through the final three corners now. Let's see what he can put on the board. Really cutting that inside curb through turn 21. Through the final corner now, get the power down, run it up towards the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 31.9 to put himself into the top 10 positions at the moment. So decent start to the session for him. ST240611 coming back to the pit lane. Couldn't settle up the first time around. Looked to be on for some decent sector times, but deciding to abandon it. Let's watch Joker now as he makes his way through the final sector. Is he going to come across the line to finish his lap, or will it be a trip? It will, in fact, be a trip to the pit lane, so not going to be an improvement there for him. Will Smooth otherwise continues on his way, looking to get plenty of laps in here. He's currently sitting fourth and about half a second off of the fastest time. Couple more drivers coming across the line. That's Rory starting a lap. Let's see who else we have out there. I believe Wash Leopold. There we go. Lap on the board for him. A 30.1 to go fourth fastest here. Very strong showing so far. Just over 3 tenths. Sorry, 2.5 tenths off of our fastest time at the moment. I think most of the drivers, they're making their way back to the pit lane. Let's watch Websy coming through the final corner now up towards the line. Got a Ferrari just in front also coming across the line here. And Websy goes to our fastest with a 31.9. And then the only driver, I believe, who is still out there on a lap to be Rory, who is currently facing the wrong way down at the chicane. Sorry, that's not the chicane. That is turn 8. Not the direction you want your car to be facing, and that is unfortunately going to cost him that first attempt, but I believe everybody else, never mind, Jari is still pushing, and that is fastest. That is a 29.819, half a tenth faster than FaZe Monkey in the McLaren. Let's see who else we have out there. I think this session, a lot of it is going to be about the confidence for the drivers, getting as many laps on the board. MPA3 Gamer invalidating their current run. Will Smooth is half a second up, but invalidated. That would have been good enough for the fastest time had they kept it within the white lines. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of invalidations here tonight. Let's have a look over. Paulie also invalidated, going to be continuing, never mind, returning to the pit lane. But as we just jump through all the drivers, they get ready for their second runs of the session, most of them either with invalidations in the pit lane or not improving. Benoit is not one of those, though. He is definitely finding some time out there. We've got one of the Ferraris, that will be MPA3 Gamer, right up his rear diffuser and might be causing him a bit of a distraction as he hits the wall, invalidates, and I don't think he'll be too happy about that one at all. Rory coming back into the pit lane, but we do have a couple of drivers making their way on for their outlaps now. The first of which being FaZe Monkey, I believe, and he is currently sitting right up the sharp end, second position at the moment. Let's see if he can try and snatch that position back. Only needs to find a couple hundredths of a second to see him back to the top spot of qualifying, but plenty of drivers going to be looking to improving. We've got MPA3 Gamer and also Cook, first and second in the championship. They currently sit 6th and 18th at the moment. So, of course, plenty of time for them to be finding. We expect to be seeing them right up at the sharp end of the field. Cook is out there on his lap now, just making his way through the first sector. We'll watch our current second fastest driver, FaZe Monkey. 29.8 is the time on the board. Needs to find 300ths of a second if he wants to find himself back in that top spot. Let's see how this lap unfolds. Got to try and cut these curbs as much as you can while keeping that speed high as well. Looks like a decent start though to the lap for FaZe Monkey as we run our way down towards the chicane. Let's head on board and see how hard are we cutting these corners here as we downshift, scrub off some speed right over the curb, but unfortunately an invalidation coming there. Billy Wiz, the other McLaren, has crashed out, down at the penultimate corner, will not be taking any further part in this qualifying session. 9th fastest at best, and I expect that will be dropping further. Cook has invalidated his run as well, so will not be improving this time around. Let's see if we can catch anybody else out there on a lap. We've got the Red Bull of C156 making his way through turn number 12. He was the one just behind FaZe Monkey when they started their laps, so let's see what he can get on the board. I think we might have one or two cars just up the road as well, as ST2406 goes up to 5th fastest in the Alpine. A nice lap there from him. Quite a few more drivers now getting their laps underway now as well. So we're keeping a close eye on the timing tower once they do make their way through the final 2 corners now. For the Red Bull driver, is it going to be a time to put himself up into the top 10? Needs to find a couple hundredths for that to be the case, and he does find about half a second in the end, a 31.0 to put himself up into P9. Nice little lap time there from him. We'll jump over to who is going to be the next across the line, as we see a little bit of chaos as the drivers file their way through the chicane. It's going to be Moist down in P19. He's making his way through turn number 21 now, and currently sitting last of the drivers at the moment. 1 of 4 drivers without a time on the board though, as we make our way through the final corner up towards the start-finish line. It'll be a 1 minute 33.050, not the slowest time we've seen so far, but a couple seconds off of the pace we're seeing right up the sharp end of the field. We'll jump over, have a look at Sprint F1, who has actually invalidated his time. He won't be improving, unfortunately. We have got the Alpines making their way through. Nuke Panda, the first of the 2, as they make their way through the final corner now and come across the line. It's P9, a 30.984. The other Alpine files their way into the pit lane. We've got the Audi next across the line, and that is P8 for MH1463. Puts himself up there with that 30.7. Next will be we've got Aston Martin coming into the pit lane. And then after that, it will be the Cadillac of Pooley coming across the line. Big improvement there, 30.066. Puts himself up onto the second row of the grid as it stands, looking very, very strong. Ross Leopold going to be looking to try and take that position back though as he gets his next lap underway. We'll jump over to see Pesant has invalidated. Aiden Signol, who has just started a lap, as well as does Rory. So these drivers are going to be filing their way through. We'll jump over to Ben, who will be the next driver to finish a lap here. And we make our way through the final corner now, up towards the start-finish line. 32.2 is the current time. It's still a 32.2. That stays in 14th fastest. Small improvements being found. Got the Mercedes of Joker as he makes his way. He's coming back to the pit lane. Not going to be a time on the board just yet for him, as Yari improving. That is a big improvement, half a second found. 29.342 is now the time to beat, and half a second clear of P2, 7/10 clear of P3 and 4. That is a very, very strong lap there from the Audi driver. His teammate making his way back to the pit lane just now as well, as Sprint F1, currently 3rd fastest, heads out onto the track with 5 minutes left to go in the session. Let's jump back to Wash Leopold as he navigates the final sector, 0.4 of a second up through the first two on a 30.1. Could be looking for a second place position here, might even be a bit more if he can find time in the final sector. Comes across the line, it's a 29.663. He found an extra half a tenth or so in that final sector and solidifies himself into a front row position, drops poorly back down to the third row for the time being as well. Still struggling to get a valid lap underway here is Pesant. Another invalidation. I feel like every time we look over, after he's got that first 30.3 on the board, it's just been an invalidation for the championship leader. Cook, another one, P2 in the championship, currently sits last of the lot, down in P19. He's really going to need to put something special together in this final lap of qualifying. 4 minutes left to go in this session, and the drivers are slowly but surely finding their way out onto the track. Both the Red Bulls out on the track at the moment. We've got a Williams making their way out as well, and a Mercedes too. Pesant back to the pit lane, getting ready for one final fight till the checkered flag flies here in qualifying. Really going to be hoping to pick up some time here. Pretty safe to the cars behind, although still 3 without a time on the board, but a half a second gap almost to the next car behind him. Pretty much means he's only looking forward in this session. If he can find a couple tenths, that could jump him up into the top 4 potentially. He's only about 0.3 of a second away. Face Monkey through the final corner was sitting provisionally on the front row, got beaten by Wash Leopold on the previous runs. Yari half a second clear. Can they find the margin? Can they find that extra half a second on this final run of qualifying as we head our way down towards the chicane where they invalidated their previous attempt? This is going to be such a crucial corner. Let's head on board once again with the McLaren driver as we make our way through. Cuts it again, an invalidation there. Looking at the dash though, 3.8 laps of fuel. There is enough in the car to have another attempt. There's plenty of time still on the board as well. FaZe Monkey will have to just manage the tyres through the lap here, save up the battery of course, and get themselves ready for another attempt, just giving themselves the chances to try and absolutely nail that chicane down, give themselves the best possible opportunity to find the time to beat Yari there to the pole position. That chicane cut going to be oh so crucial. Here comes ST2406. Cutting it very, very nicely. Looked like he cut it even more, to be honest, than the McLaren did, but he keeps it within track limits. He is 0.07 of a second up on his time as well, as we continue to file our way through into the middle sector now, trying to hook these corners up nicely. And then round the banking we go. Currently P6 at 30.2 is the time for him. That time in the first sector wouldn't be enough to find him a position. Needs to find more in the second and third sectors as well. But it would, of course, put him a bit safer to the likes of Will Smooth and Pesant behind as well. Top 2 both out on their outlaps now, and it's 2.5 tenths of improvement as Paulie, who previously disconnected, has now retired from the session. He won't be improving on that P5 position. Going to be third row at best for the Cadillac driver in towards the final 3 corners we go for the Alpine here. Currently 6 drivers in the top 6 different teams in the top 6. Let's see where the Alpine is going to go as we make our way through the final corner now, up towards the line, and it is to the top. That lap coming out of absolutely nowhere. 0.8 of a second found in the final sector is a 29.205 for the Alpine driver, and he displaces Yari, who was sitting on that 29.3, feeling very, very comfortable. That is going to put the pressure on for this final run of qualifying. FaZe Monkey 0.3 down on his next attempt, I believe this is. He's kept it valid, but not finding the pace out there, and that is going to be oh so crucial once we do come towards the end of this session. 40 seconds left to go. He's actually backed off, and I think going to take another crack at it in this session. Will Smooth found 0.3 on his previous lap, makes his way down towards the chicane, and not pushing just yet, though I don't think, although that would be quite surprising. Maybe just turning the battery off before the end of the straight. I would be very surprised if he hasn't started pushing. He's 2 seconds down. Maybe he's already had his improvement. I think he might have actually finished that lap already. Nonetheless, let's jump over to Yari, who is almost 0.2 of a second up through the first 2 sectors. Crucial contender for the pole position here. I believe also Pesant has invalidated again. Championship leader not going to be finding an improvement. Cook has kept it valid for the time being. That's going to be a crucial one as well, who currently sits down in last position. Back over to the driver who will be contending for pole position here. 0.3 of a second up for Jari. Just got to keep it valid and keep it clean for this final sector. Most importantly, though, keep it fast as we make our way through turn number 19 now towards this next braking zone. Just 3 more braking zones left to go. Nail these corners. Sprint F1 has crashed down at turn number 8. He won't be improving on his P6 position. Let's see, Jari though, is it going to be enough? Has he kept it tidy through this final sector? Taps the wall through the final corner, comes across the line, and he loses the time. He's 1/10 of a second down. It's only second position for the Audi driver. Can anybody behind do anything? Watch Leopold down on his time. It's not improving. Face Monkey equal through the first sector. He's 1/10 up through the second sector. Maybe a chance to claw this time back in the final sector. We'll have to find a big chunk of time. There's a big improvement there. Cook jumps up to 12th with that late lap, but still not going to be where he was hoping to be as he sits second in the championship. His championship rival starting from 8th position as well. This track might be a bit of a bogey track, new to the calendar. Going to be very interesting to see how this race plays out, but Face Monkey in contention currently sits 4th position. How much does he find as he spins through the final corner? He won't improve on his lap in the end. He'll stay 4th fastest, second row of the grid, and the final driver out on a lap is Agent Signolo. But he is not improving on his time. It will be 17th for him. Joker, the one and only driver, not to get a time on the board, but pole position decided by 1/10 of a second. Jari 0.3 up, heading into the final sector and losing 2 of them. Oh, so crucial decisions being made in that final lap, and unfortunately not playing to the favor of the Audi. Did he potentially use a little bit too much battery too early on? We will never know. Nonetheless, though, it is ST2406 who takes pole position by 1/10 of a second, a 29.2 for him. Jari starts second. Wash Leopold in 3rd. Face Monkey in 4th. And then we have an all Williams 3rd row of the grid. 5th for Will Smooth, 6th for Sprint F1. Cadillac with Pooley in 7th. Then Pouzan in 8th. MH1463 in 9th. And C156. Rounding out your top 10, then we have Newt Panda, Cook, Billy Wiz, Websy, Moist, Benwell, Agent Signolo, Rory, and Joker, the one and only driver without a lap. That is your qualifying order then, ladies and gentlemen. And a very exciting qualifying session there as well. And now we wait for the drivers to set their strategies, get the fuel in the car, make any final tweaks to their setups, and get themselves ready for action here tonight. And a bit of a dive into the unknown here tonight as well for the drivers here. Going to be, I believe, 28 laps of racing. Though I have never actually checked that. I'm just looking very briefly at some information here. But I expect it will be 28 laps of action that we will see here tonight around the Madrid. And we get ready to crown our first victor in the SWFC Racing Series. Going to be a very interesting one for the drivers here tonight. 22 turns to navigate. We've already seen who can do it best in a qualifying session, but over the course of the race, with strategy and battery playing a big factor, track position going to be oh so crucial, and so many opportunities to make overtakes. Things could really change in the blink of an eye here tonight. We could be seeing our championship leaders fighting their way through. But here we go to the grid. The 5 lights are on ahead of the drivers. And for the first time here in the Madrid, we are racing. And down towards turn we run immediately. Jari getting the jump with 3 wide, heading into the first corner. The Audi with the inside line takes the position. Wash Leopold trying to find his way back through. Side by side he runs with the pole sitter, and he does find his way through. Not the best start for the Alpine driver as we make our way down on the straight towards turn number 4. Now straight mode is activated for the drivers, of course, in towards the chicane. Who's going to be brave on the brakes? Try and cut it tight with the track limits. Contact further behind with one of the Audis and the Cadillac, as well as they all file their way through. Yari is losing positions on the exit. Has he made contact potentially somewhere? Down 3 positions, might even be 4 here, as the McLaren looks to try and sweep his way through on this opening lap. Yari from second to first to third in just the space of the first sector. Not been the ideal start, but there was chaos further back as well, as we see the drivers filing their way through side by side through turn number 12. Contact, and there's a big contact there from Wing coming flying off of the Alpine as they made their way through the banking. This is going to cause chaos in the mid-pack as they file their way through turn number 13 now. Side by side further behind, we've got yellow flags, and that is Joker straight on at 13. Doesn't look like the damage is actually too bad on that Alpine, but up at the front, Wash Leopold has gone from third to first, finding great moves on this opening lap. But here comes ST2406 to the outside in towards turn number 20. Tries to squeeze his way through. It gets tight in this final sector to the inside into 21. Off the track goes the V-Carbon. Yari now looks to the inside, heading to the final corner. Is he going to try and take that position? He'll back out for the time being. More yellow flags. That's Rory straight on down at turn 20, but leading the opening lap from pole position despite dropping multiple places on the opening lap is the Alpine of ST2406. Yari now looking to try and find his way through, and a spinner. That is Sprint in the Williams. Had a big off down at the first corner, cost him quite a big chunk of time, sends him tumbling down to 10th, make that potentially even 12th here. Our championship leader losing positions as well into the chicane. Contact between second and third as they foul their way through off the track for the Audi driver, and that's allowing ST to pull away immediately. New Panda picks up a 10-second penalty for an illegal overtake. I think the Audi also doing the same. That would be the yellow flags, and we had a big crash, I think, in the chicane. What has happened here? Lots of drivers all bunching up. We've got a car out and a safety car deployed on the second lap here at the Madrid. And immediately carnage is unfolding. Can we see? Doesn't look like too many drivers have actually picked up any damage, but MH1463 in the Audi out of this race. And very difficult to catch a grasp with exactly what the drivers are approaching this race with. We'll have a look at the tyres as it stands. It's medium tyres for everybody except for C156 and Rory, who both opted for those hard compound tyres. I highly doubt we're going to be seeing any pit stops from, well, at least from most of the drivers. Maybe New Panda will come in to serve that 10-second penalty. Maybe we'll see a couple drivers coming in to fix some wing damage. But it's been a feisty opening few laps. We saw contact between our top drivers, lots of banging of wheels further behind as well. We saw 2 drivers in the wall down at turn number 12. We've seen drivers out of this race down at the chicane as well. Multiple drivers going off at the corners like turn 8 and turn 20, and that's very much just a taster of what we're going to be seeing here. It's 29 laps, I apologise, here at the Madrid, and into the pits comes Will Smooth. New Panda follows in as well, of course, with that 10-second penalty. These drivers further behind are going to have little to lose at all here. Looks like 3 drivers so far, going to be 4, maybe 5 into the pit lane here. Is it a wing change? Yes, it is indeed for the Williams driver. We'll watch with New Panda as well. This split pit lane going to make things a little bit difficult. We'll have a look as well, see how many drivers are coming in for wing changes. Not for the Mercedes. New Panda serving that penalty. There is a front wing in the hands of that Jackman as well. Same for Ben. He's changing his front wing. And I think that is just going to be 3 front wing changes and a penalty served. No, sorry. Yes, it is 3 front wing penalties. 3 front wing changes and a penalty served. Can't get my words out here. Rory continues through, not pitting. He comes out in P15. Everybody who has made a pit stop going onto the hard compound tyres. But it's ST2406 who leads up at the front of the race at the moment, and looking very strong. Rory picks up a 3-second time penalty under the safety car as he made his way through the chicane. That is most certainly not the ideal way to run the race. You do not want to be picking up time penalties at all, especially not under racing conditions. But now we wait for this safety car for the field to bunch up, and then we can see how things play out. If it's going to be like those opening few laps all the way through, then we are in for a real treat here tonight, because that was chaos. I had no idea where to look. There was fights happening up at the front, there was fights happening in the middle, there was crashes up and down the field as well. Things going to get very interesting, I think, if they continue to play out in the way that they have at the start of this race. So through the final 2 corners, safety car will stay out for another lap. I think we'll be coming in at the end of lap 4 though. And that will get us back racing. Anybody going to be thinking about a potential pit stop here? I don't expect so. I expect they would have been coming in on the previous lap if they were to have wanted a change of tyres, unless they somehow managed to pick up some damage under this lap, of course. But nobody coming in at this time around. They will continue on their way. Yeah, the Alpine of ST is your race leader, and as it stands, 9 different teams in the top 10, 10 teams in the top 11 at the moment. The only team not represented in our top 11 is Haas, who currently sit with 1 driver down in P17. But yeah, 2 McLarens in the top 10. Every other team, apart from Haas, represented in that top 11 drivers. Oh, that is not a good sound. What's happened to Jari? He's in the wall. Maybe some sort of technical issue in the background under the safety car. The Audi driver has hit the wall and parked up. The wheel is locked over to the left, to the right-hand side. I think that might have been a hardware disconnection. Jari is sent tumbling down to the back of the field. He's picked up front wing damage as well, and that is devastating news for the driver who was leading at one stage on the opening lap. But now damage on the car. The safety car is going to be probably coming in at the end of this lap, potentially facing hardware issues off the back of the pack as well. This is ultimate disaster for the Audi driver. He's going to find himself a pit stop off the back of the field here. Very, very unfortunate stuff to be playing out. We will keep an eye up at the front, and as I expected, unfortunately, safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. And again, was that the same issue? I heard it again, a car dragging along the wall. Jari seems to have some severe issues with the steering. Big issues for Jari's wheel here. He cannot get the car to turn properly. I don't know exactly what is going on for him, but he is having multiple issues here, and unfortunately looks like it may well be race over for the Audi driver if he cannot get that problem solved. I think he may have been driving around in AI to catch up to the back of the pack, and the steering locking to the right once again. That wheel, unfortunately, not in great shape, but we look to this safety car restart as a big jump here through the final corner, almost finding half a second relative to Leopold as we make our way through the final corner up towards the line to get back to green flag racing. Watch Leopold gets close in towards the first corner, thinks about a move, looks for the switchback and finds his way through. Not a great run as Face Monkey also capitalizing on the sliding, gets himself through up into second. Paulie could be challenging for P3 here to get himself into the podium positions as we run down towards the chicane. Are we going to see any moves up at the front? Doesn't look like it for the time being. Everybody filing their way through nice and cleanly up the hill towards turn number 8. The drivers make their way through this middle sector now. But once again, not a great start for ST2406. Not thriving in the opening pass of the lap as we've got yellow flags out, and that is Rory straight on down at turn number 8 into the barriers. And another safety car comes out. This could be good news for Jari if the steering is fixed. That is a big if, though. I do not know if Jari is currently in control of his car. We might be able to get a good idea based on the line through the chicane here. I'd say that is player control, and it looks like he has got his steering fixed. He's definitely got his front wing fixed. But we have another safety car deployed here on lap number 5. Leopold is now your leader. Face Monkey in second. ST2406 dropping down to third. Not the greatest of restarts here. At what point, though, are the drivers going to have to start thinking about potentially coming in for a pit stop for the hard compound tyres to try and get to the end of this race? It's still a long way to go. But maybe the next safety car is Rory. He's been disqualified. I'm surprised he wasn't able to move away from the wall, but that is definitely race over nonetheless. As into the pit lane, that is a late dive to the pit lane. A late call there. All of our drivers in the top 4 coming in. Sprint F1 is the first to stay out on his medium tyres. C156 coming in, staying out as well, as does Billy Whiz. A late call cutting the pit lane entry line by our race leader to try and get into the pits without his rivals coming in as well. Try and catch them off guard. As a result, going to allow them to a fresh set of tyres. But A lot of drivers staying out as well. They are going to be coming out down in P9, Sprint F1, C156, Billy Wiz and Sinyo. The drivers who have stayed out and yet to make a pit stop. Will Smooth, Joker, Ben Wow and Nuke Panda pitted under the first safety car. They've done half a lap of racing on their tyres and now are our net leaders of the race. They've jumped themselves ahead and are probably only a couple % of tyre wear of deficit. That is a very, very clever call by Will Smooth, who may be anticipating carnage, decided to go very early and hope that by the time all the safety cars are played out, he saved enough tyres that a pit stop on lap 2 of this race is enough to get him to the end of lap 29. Maybe we're going to see another pit stop from him, who knows. But it's interesting to see the drivers coming in for their pit stops after what has effectively probably been about 3 total laps of racing so far here tonight. Tyres not going to have faced all that much wear at all. And by the end of this safety car, it's probably going to be at the end of lap 7 at least, the start of lap 8. 21 laps on a set of hard compound tyres. Doesn't seem the most far-fetched thing in the world. Still going to be difficult, but I'd say it's doable. And if we see another safety car coming, that then makes it that little bit easier for the drivers. You probably expect you could do, I mean, to be honest, I'd say like 18 laps, maybe, on a set of hard compound tyres. And that's not really that far off. A little bit of tyre saving here and there, especially on the rear tyres. And I think you would be golden to go to the checkered flag here. And that really, really is going to be looking positives for the likes of Will Smooth, who pitted under that very first safety car. Hasn't really put much effort into those tyres at all. And could be in a very nice position indeed by the end of this race. So we file our way through once again, lap 7 of 29. We should, I believe, get back racing once again at the end of this lap. Really unfortunate, though, I have to say, for Yari, who through no fault of his own really, has found himself right down at the back end of the field. Fortunately, the pit stops will help him a little bit here, but he is still almost 10 positions off of where he was sat just moments ago, before those issues befell him through the corner that he's approaching now. And yeah, really, really unfortunate stuff for the Audi driver. Has seemed very much on the pace, but yeah, going to be really, really unfortunate. Nonetheless, he will continue, and I'm sure, oh, never mind, I have cursed him. He is stopped down at turn 8. Once again, it seems like there's issues as he leaves the session as well. Terribly unfortunate for the Audi driver, has looked very, very strong and potentially on the pace to fight for victory here tonight, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be here for Yari here tonight at the Madrid. Doesn't look like things are going to work in his favour, and safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap. And now Sprint F1 leading us on the restart. Let's see what he is able to put on the table for the drivers here. Can he try and jump away? Can he try and break clear on the restart here? The car behind him starting on hard tyres. The only driver remaining still in this race that started on hard compound tyres. Swapping your positions further back. They're going to have to sort that out before they file their way through. Don't want to pick up any 10-second penalties here. But Sprint F1 race leader here on the medium compound of tyres. Hards for C156 and the Red Bull behind and through the final corner. We get back up to racing speed. Half a second is the gap. That should keep him safe on the run down towards turn 1. Who's going to be brave? Think about some moves. Ben Wow in the Haas was thinking about it. Now under pressure from Nuke Panda. To the inside through turn 1. To the outside through turn 2. They're still banging wheels as they make their way through down towards the chicane we run. We've got yellow flags out immediately, never mind. Ignore that, that is just a visual glitch. But in towards the chicane we come. Side by side, they tuck themselves in further up the road. That is side by side, and contact being made between the Ferrari and the Mercedes. A car park forming as they make their way under the bridge. 3 wide as we head our way in towards turn number 8. This is going to get messy between these drivers. They all foul their way through. Lots of contact being made. You can hear it as they bang wheels. The Haas dropping many positions as we make our way in towards turn number 9. A 10-second penalty for Agent Signal for cutting a corner and gaining an advantage. That is unfortunate stuff for him as we make our way through the banking. Now the Mercedes of Joker gaining to the inside of New Panda, finds his way through up into 7th position. Still looking back though, New Panda not giving up just yet on the exit. Gets the power down nicely side by side as we head our way through the snaking section. FaZe Monkey now pulls himself alongside, and here comes ST2406 as well, looking to the outside as we head our way in towards turn number 17 there. The Alpine of New Panda now losing positions, loses the car, and that is going to be costly for him. Drops him down to 13th position. Crucial stuff here. Is to the inside now. FaZe Monkey trying to apply some pressure to Agent Signal. All the while, Will Smooth has been able to pull clear. Contact made between Joker and that is ST2406 as they run side by side through the penultimate corner towards the final corner, banging wheels round the outside for ST2406, our pole sitter, to take that 8th position. And here comes Paulie in the Cadillac as well as we run down towards the first corner, looking to the inside of Agent Signal. Deep goes the Alpine, but he finds his way through. The Mercedes now looking to apply some pressure, contact, and Paulie gets caught up in the chaos as well. Sent tumbling down, maybe some damage, and backwards. That's our championship leader, MPA3 Gamer, backwards at the first corner. That is a crucial moment in this championship. His championship rival, though, only in 11th position at the moment as they file their way through the chicane now. That is devastating stuff there for the championship leader, who now sits 17th and last, 9 seconds off the back of Yari, who disconnected from the session earlier on. Might have been able to get himself back in off the track. There is the Ferrari and the Alpine going wide into the barrier as well. New Panda still getting into trouble to the inside. Goes Cook to find 2 positions in 1 lap, 3 wide for a brief moment as we make our way through 12. Down towards 13 we run now. New Panda and Websy battling side by side as they make their way to the apex. Off the track goes the Alpine driver, but it finds his way through nonetheless up into P11 that is, for New Panda. But wide, there's so many mistakes here. The Ferrari of Agent Signolo going wide off the track, and now down to 15th position. Yari is still in fact disconnected from the session. Contact with a barrier just up the road as well. That will be Joker or Sir Moist, I think, hitting the barrier there, and damage on that Red Bull. So Moist, I think, very much making big contact with the barriers as down towards turn 1. Leopold has been able to fight his way through ahead of Billy Wiz, who's still out on those medium compound tyres that he started the race on the Red Bull driver into the pit lane as well. Billy Wiz could be fighting back down this straight, but I don't think he's going to have overtake mode available to him at this moment in time. That will help Will Smooth to keep himself clear and ahead. Now got to set his sights after the cars in front. He's absolutely flying along. 1.2 seconds. That gap was 1.7 just a moment ago. 1.1, and he's very soon going to be within that 1 second range for the overtake mode. And FaZe Monkey also getting right on the back of his teammate. Could be thinking about a move here. Hits the wall though through turn number 12. Not ideal stuff. We've got yellow flags, and that is Websy, I think, who's also gone off down at turn 8. Looks like he's locked the rears. Gets back going once again now, and the 2 McLaren swap positions as they make their way through turn number 12. FaZe Monkey continues to push on as a 3-second time penalty as well for Billy Wiz. Pauline looking to find his way through ahead of Benoit. The Cadillac gets himself up into P9 now. Leopold is straight onto the back of the battle at the front of the field, and surely going to be looking for a way to fight his way up into that P1 position. He has the freshest tyres of the top 4 and a 1.8 second buffer to the car behind, although that is coming down thick and fast. 1.5 seconds now to FaZe Monkey behind, and I think that gap by the end of this next lap is going to be very small, less than a second for sure. As they are stuck in the traffic. The 2 Ferraris swapping positions further back as well in the final sector. Not been a day of delight for the Scuderia. And down towards the final corner, MPA3 Gamer has that position. Not going to be worth very much at all though. Championship rival up there in P8. and he's down in P17. That was a very, very committed chicane there from Leopold as we make our way in towards turn 8, thinking about a move to the inside on the Williams. Williams currently sitting first and third in this race. 3-second time penalty is there. Yellow flags. Billy Lewis has gone straight on down to turn 8 into the barriers. Gets back going once again. Fortunately, no safety car coming out this time. Doesn't actually look like there's any damage to the car either. But what was a 4-way battle for the lead now becomes a 5-way battle as the other McLaren of FaZe Monkey starts to rock up onto the scene. Will Smooth getting closer to the back of C156. The pressure is piling on as the drivers with fresher tyres who pitted under the second safety car start to close in. C156 still out on those hard tyres he started the race on, is getting closer to the back of Sprint F1 as well, who's also on his original starting tyres. Will Smooth gaining, heading down towards turn 20. Will he think about a move just for a brief moment to the inside, heading in towards the corner 3 from home? Nothing coming though just yet for the Williams driver as we head in towards the final corners. Now further back, battling here, Billy Wiz, New Panda side by side. New Panda gets the better of the McLaren driver. We head down towards turn 1 with our race leaders and getting closer, looking to the inside. There goes Will Smooth, trying to squeeze the nose into the inside there. Going to get the switchback tucked in alongside and ahead by the time they make their way through turn 3 on towards the back straight. We run. Is he going to have the better top speed as we make our way through? Almost 3 wide for a brief moment. Here comes Wash Leopold through, squeezes his way past the Red Bull. By the time they hit the brakes for the chicane, FaZe Monkey pushing the Red Bull through to the outside, heading in towards turn 8. 2 by 2 almost. Just for a brief moment, we squeeze our way through and we make our way up. P4 now for FaZe Monkey. Almost thought he could try and make the move on Leopold round the outside as well. Such was the gap that opened up, the confidence on the brakes for the McLaren driver, and he for a brief moment thought maybe there was a chance. Making our way through the banking now, running out battery for sprint. Here comes the opportunity. If the through goes, Will Smooth into the lead of this race, 3 wide almost as we hit the brakes, heading into 13 and Sprint F1 battling, trying to play the team game, potentially help his teammate out a little bit. But here comes the McLaren now to the outside as they make their way through turn number 15 into 16 and 17. Can he get the confidence on the brakes to squeeze his way through? Up the inside goes FaZe Monkey, not able to get it done in the end. The Sprint with the better traction on the exit finds his way back up into that P3 position. Still FaZe Monkey having to sit in behind, and now down towards turn 20, looks to the inside, late on the brakes once again, tries the inside line, but again Sprint with the better exit, the confidence on the power. Back up into P3, and all the while this battling's happening. 1.3 seconds is the gap now to second position to the inside. He thought for a brief moment into the final corner, nothing coming in the end, but all the while the top 2 pulling their gap, pulling away down towards turn 1, looks for the gap, doesn't find it. 1.2 seconds between third and second, almost pushing him through the exit of turn number 2. Looks the inside through 3. That was almost a big airplane crash there between the McLaren and the Williams, and now a drag race down towards turn number 5. How brave is FaZe Monkey going to be? Carry the confidence through the chicane, try and build up towards the next corner. He was brave on the brakes last time around. Let's head on board. Not going to get close enough this time around. Will Smooth and Leopold close together as well, just up the road in front of us. Only a 1/10 of a second separating them as they also file their way through this section of corners. Are we going to see any overtakes as they make their way through the banking? Leopold dropping a bit further back, wide there from Sprint, and here comes FaZe Monkey to the inside through turn number 12 to take that podium position away, and up at the front. They're side by side through 13 as well for a brief moment. Leopold off the track, and that is going to cost him that position as well. Incredible battling up at the front once we have got things under green flag conditions. Well and truly, they have put some incredible battles on. Will Smooth could be going to the end potentially, but those tyres are going to be very, very old by the time they do actually make it there. Looking to the outside, heading in towards turn number 20 is Leopold. Tries to find a gap. You can see the superior grip in the car. He knows FaZe Monkey will be catching thick and fast. He knows he's got to make this move quickly. He'll pick up overtake mode for this next lap, and this might be his opportunity to pounce because FaZe Monkey is lacking that overtake mode. Into the pits comes Sprint F1 off his medium tyres. ST2406 going to be looking as well to try and make a move on this lap to try and keep himself in touch with the drivers who can potentially go to the end of this race here. Let's see, as Wash Leopold gaining on the back of Will Smooth towards the chicane. Is he going to be brave on the brakes? The gap is a 1/10 of a second. We got yellow flags. That's Sinyo off down at turn number 20. Gets back going once again and close as we head towards turn 8. Looks to the outside line. defensive from Will Smooth, nothing coming of it, but around the outside, gets the power down better. That is a brave move there from Leopold to get the power down like that on the exit and find his way through as well. Face Monkey now 0.8 of a second behind through the banking. Did he overcommit on the battery potentially? Is there going to be a chance for Will Smooth to fight back towards 13? Here he comes to the inside of 13, late on the brace for the Williams driver. Can he take that position back? Wide line for Will Smooth, gives him the better run on the exit and through into the lead of the race he goes. ST also at the same corner finds his way through ahead of C156. P4 position secured for the Alpine driver. Now he can set his sights after the battle for victory here. The top three separated by only a second, and Will Smooth currently sticking in that second position on slightly older tyres. Still going to be in with a great shot though to try and fight if he can keep up, but it doesn't seem that is going to be the case. The gap now 0.9 of a second. FaZe Monkey immediately applying the pressure. The gap only 0.2 of a second as they head out the final corner, closing towards the first corner. Is there going to be a chance for the McLaren driver to the inside into turn one? He'll sit behind for the time being, but could very well be thinking about a move heading towards the next corner. A great run through the first chicane and now towards the second chicane with some straight mode, with some battery being burned as well. We run down towards turn number 5, looking to the inside, gonna try and squeeze a nose in there. Doesn't quite work out in the end, but FaZe Monkey still doing a really great job. 0.4 of a second now the gap between himself and the car in front. Further back battling as well, and straight on through the chicane. New Panda, a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner. Tried to run side by side with Joker through that chicane, didn't quite work out in his favor in the end. Just noticing as well, our championship leader Pusant P10, Cook P7. Pusant has been able to make some incredible progress further up as well. FaZe Monkey getting close. The gap between Will Smooth and Leopold now 1.5 seconds. Really, FaZe Monkey needs to start getting a move on as further back as well. Paul Lee finds his way through on the Red Bull driver. Cook could be also looking for a move heading in towards turn number 17. Not going to go for it though there. Just going to sit behind, maybe opt for a move in towards turn number 20. Billy Weir's 3-second time penalty coming his way as well in the Aston Martin, hitting the back of the Red Bull car as they head in towards turn 20. Finds his way through. Will Smooth not going to have the overtake mode available to him. FaZe Monkey will, and this could be a great opportunity to try and gain some position potentially. Let's see what he can do. Same gap as they make their way through turn 1 and 2. Can he set the exit up once again and maybe get a run down towards turn number 5? 0.2 of a second is the gap, a little bit further back than the last time around. But he is gaining ever so slightly. Is he going to be brave? No, he's not. Just going to sit behind this time around. Waits for the opportunity to come to him. All the while, Leopold can just manage his battery, manage his tyres, and manage his race to perfection. It's going to be a long stint on these hard compound tyres, and maybe it may not be possible to get to the end of the race from when they did make their pit stops. But of course, they're going to try. Through the banking we go once again. FaZe Monkey is gaining on the Williams driver, who seems a bit starved for ERS power, but just about holding that position. Wide though, and that's a 3-second time penalty. You saw it coming with the track limits that have been accrued over the race. A 3-second penalty. Oh, a big wobble there from the McLaren driver as well as he thought about switching to the inside for 17. Just couldn't quite get the car to do what he wanted, and that was almost a very costly race-ending, potentially, mistake there. Fortunately managed to keep control of the car. Still the gap at the front actually staying around 1.3 seconds. Leopold hasn't flown off into the distance like you may have expected necessarily. Although it does extend through those final few corners up to now 1.6 seconds, 1.7 seconds. Let's see what Will Smooth can do in defense now. Of course, he's got that time penalty, so FaZe Monkey will take that position once the penalty has been served at the end of the race, of course. But that is only provisional, as battling here, Sprint finds their way through on Ben up into P11 now, as Ben peels into the pit lane as well. 13 laps on those hard compound tyres. So that is the same tyre age that we're seeing from Will Smooth here up at the front. Maybe we're going to be seeing some very long stints. Maybe you're going to have to see these drivers abandon the one-stop strategy and go for the 2 So far, the longest stint we've seen on hard tyres, 16 laps from the beginning of the race for C156 in that Red Bull. That would only take us to lap 22. We need another 7 laps, theoretically, out of the hard compound tyres, just for Leopold to make it to the end of the race. You'd need another 3 on top of that for the likes of Will Smooth, who's currently sitting in 2nd position. Still nothing coming, unfortunately, for FaZe Monkey, just stuck in behind. These tyres are going to be at a pretty similar age range, roughly, probably only a couple % separating them at this stage of the race. And unfortunately, that does mean that FaZe Monkey is not going to have a tyre advantage, purely just a pace advantage required to make this overtake, as he drops quite a way back here. And you can just see in the distance as well, ST2406 starting to make some inroads here and there, the Alpine driver. Now 1.9 seconds off the back of the McLaren. So once again, make our way through that first chicane. Can we set up a good enough exit to try and close this gap down? The gap currently half a second as we head towards turn number 5. Sprint F1 setting another fastest lap of the race, just showing the performance of those tyres straight on down at turn 8. Once again, a mistake for Agent Signolo. Full front wing coming off, hitting the barrier as well. That's our race leader making his way through, and the virtual safety car has been deployed. Just waiting to see, has something else happened? Potentially, I can't see where anybody else has gone off. It's a bit of a delayed call though, but VSC does come out here. It's a long lap here at the Madrid, but this could be a prime time opportunity for a pit stop for the likes of Leopold, Will Smooth, FaZe Monkey, Paulie, all of our drivers really up at the front end of the field. Could be looking for a chance to make a pit stop here, a cheap pit stop. Unfortunately for Will Smooth, I think he is going to get held up here behind the Ferrari, because I don't think he can overtake him without picking up an illegal overtake. And the Ferrari, without a front wing, is running a long, long way off the pace. He picks up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting as well. But I think, fortunately, actually, now managing to gain a bit of speed here. Once again, hits the wall and it has gone green. Unfortunately for these guys, if they were hoping for a cheap pit stop before they were able to get to pit lane, the gaps have opened up a little bit under this virtual safety car, though. Into the pit lane comes the Ferrari driver. That might potentially be the end of his race as well. In fact, it is retiring from the race, is the Ferrari driver. But all these gaps have opened up, mainly the gap between FaZe Monkey and Will Smooth, who loses quite a chunk of time, and ST2406 now right onto the back of the McLaren. We have got pit stops being made. 18 laps on the hard tyres was all that C156 could ride. His 10-second penalty for speeding as well for Joker, and New Panda also coming in for a set of the medium compound tyres for the Red Bull, hards for the Mercedes. And we'll wait and see as the Alpine makes their way in towards their box now. Going to be the white wood hard compound tyres heading on for New Panda as well. So the drivers continue to file their way through now, making their way out of the pit lane. Can our race leaders go to the end? Are they hoping for another safety car later on with some potential carnage? Strap on a set of soft or medium tyres and try and hang it out all the way to the checker flag. They've completed their mandatory pit stop allocation. Ooh, wide there for our race leader through turn number 17. Couldn't quite get the car stopped, and that cost him a couple of tenths to Will Smooth behind, who does still carry that 3-second time penalty as it stands. Would lose positions to FaZe Monkey and ST2406. So 18 laps was what we saw from the Red Bull of C156. Not any pit stops coming just yet for these guys. 18 laps though would be next time around a pit stop for Will Smooth, if that was the absolute limit of the tyres. 3-second time penalty for Joker, and that was a big snap of oversteer there for FaZe Monkey, and I think that is really going to show us that the tyres are starting to fall away. Fastest lap for Sprint, FaZe Monkey now 0.6 of a second off the back of the Williams driver, who's going to be starting to struggle for some confidence here and might start making a couple more mistakes. That gap now half a second after we've made our way through the chicane. FaZe Monkey is going to start to smell blood in the water, could see a move on the cards, and potentially a chance to find second place here on the track here at the Madrid. 2/10 of a second is the gap as they make their way through the banking. Does the McLaren have the battery to deploy to look to the inside, heading towards turn number 13? He's going to try the move. Again, though, Will Smooth with that outside line, able to pinch him slightly tighter than he'd want and get the better X here. Nuke Panda, another time penalty coming his way as well, as he and Billy Wiz, I think, have both just had a bit of an off down at the chicane. Sprint through on our championship leader Pesant up into 7th position. It's a bang with the walls we can hear in the distance. Not too sure where that would have been coming from, but many times we have heard the drivers making contact with the walls. Such is the result of a new track on a new game with new handling to come with it as well. Face Monkey only a couple tenths off the back of Will Smooth, who has now dropped to 3.6 seconds off the back of Leopold at the front. Still staying out on the track, though, is the Williams driver. Ops to continue on, the longest anyone has gone so far on a set of the hard compound tyres, with Face Monkey right on the back of the Williams driver as they head down towards turn 5. It'll be outside line for the McLaren driver. Got to be brave on the brakes, heading in, taps the wall. That's not going to be great, but wide and cuts the corner. Does Will Smooth, keeps the position, but crucially, another 3 seconds time penalty going the way of the Williams driver. He maintains track position, but as a result has to cut the second part of the chicane, cut turn number 6, and gets another time penalty to go with it, and that would bring potentially Paulie and Cook both into that penalty range. If he continues on like this, it is going to be tight, but it does seem that they would be within that time penalty range. And to the outside to 12 towards 13, his inside line now. This time around he pulls himself a car length ahead by the time they reach the apex of the corner. Face Monkey through up into 2nd place, but all this battling has allowed Leopold the chance to put himself 5 seconds clear at the front of the field. Now this may just become a game of chicken. Who can go the longest on their tyres? Watch Leopold, not been battling, been in clean air this whole time. Could be in a very strong position here. But it's all going to come down to these final 8 laps of the race. Leopold continuing on. Are we going to see potential pit stops to come into play here? But nobody making the jump just yet. Very much could be a roll of the dice with the puncture territory here tonight. Could be seeing 1 or 2 drivers picking up a puncture on the final few laps of this race. We're on lap 22 out of 29 at the moment. Things have been very tense. Lots of crashes in the opening laps, a couple safety cars to get us underway. But once things have settled out, it's been some incredible racing between all of these drivers. As we make our way once again through the chicane. Not the best run there for Face Monkey. Now that he's leading, maybe losing a bit of his confidence. No reference in front of him. And as a result, Will Smooth gets himself within about 1/10 of a second of the McLaren driver. Driver's going to be closing in as here a move there. MKD through up into P9 ahead of Webster, who's on 16 lap. Old Tyres, our race leader. That is a crucial one. As a 3-second time penalty. As it stands, the gap is 5.4, but it is so easy to pick up warnings here when you're trying to push right to the limits. That very well could become 6 seconds. Maybe Face Monkey can gain a bit of pace here as well in the late stages, try and close that margin down as well. We make our way through the final corner now. Lap 22 coming to a close. Face Monkey 7/10 of a second clear of Will Smooth. ST246 pole sitter looking to try and hang on to that podium position for the time being. Been a very nice recovery as well, I have to say, for Cook, who was down, I believe, in P12 at the start of this race, and now up to P6. His championship rival a little bit further down the pace. Moise picks up another 3-second time penalty as well for corner cutting. That would be down at the turn 5-6 chicane. Will Smooth once again doing a slightly better job at sticking with the car in front than the car behind is able to do. Fastest lap for Joker as well, 32.966 for the Mercedes driver, who is on 4-lap old hard compound tyres as it stands, and looking to try and pull himself closer to the top 10 positions as it stands, 2 seconds off of his teammate. Will Smooth getting close, heading into 13, but not close enough to try anything just yet. Cook is also getting close to the back of Paulie. As Billy Wiz down in P15 now, so that's the fastest lap of the race. The drivers who have made those pit stops able to set those fast times, of course, much fresher tyres. And as a result, they have got probably seconds in hand per lap. A dig tap of the wall there for Cook, who's trying his absolute best to get close to the back of Paulie. Wants to give himself the best opportunity to find his way in through into P5 and what would eventually become P4 after penalties, considering he started outside the top 10. A very strong recovery result for P2 in the championship. I believe Poussin would still maintain the championship lead as it stands. But of course things could still change. Here comes Will Smooth down towards turn number 5. Once again getting close. Not close enough though. A couple tenths still the margin separating those two drivers. Let's see if Cook can get any closer as they head in towards turn number 8. Nothing coming immediately, but on the exit getting himself closer. His championship rival picks up a 3-second time penalty. Not really going to make much of a difference to his position, but might cost him if any other drivers around him drop a bit further back, right on that inside apron there, as FaZe Monkey battling with Will Smooth up the road as well. The McLaren driver able to hold on to that position, but briefly Will Smooth was back through, and crucially he is sticking with him despite having the older tyres. Lap 24 out of 29. Time is very much ticking for these drivers. That puncture is going to be looming. We don't know the tyre wear of the drivers as it stands. Leopold is building himself a margin though. And now, Will Smooth, mistake. The car still sits level, definitely not a puncture on the car there, but a big snapper oversteer as he made his way out of turn number 20. That's not going to do his rear tyres any favour, and it's certainly not going to help him in his pursuit to try and stick with FaZe Monkey, who is now over a second away. He'll lose out on the overtaking mode. SD2406 now going to apply some pressure side by side between 5th and 6th as we head into the first corner. Cook tries it to the outside, can't get it to work. Can he set up a better exit? Doesn't look like it. Half a second now off the back of Paulie. That might have been his opportunity. Gonna have to try and fight back in these final few laps if he wants another shot at a potential top 4 finish. Into the pits comes Websey off his 18-lap-old hard compound tyres. Will Smooth is 22 laps into this hard tyre stint, committing to try and go all the way from a pit stop at the end of lap 2 to the end of lap 29. It would be an incredible 27-lap stint if he is able to pull it off. Unprecedented, really, levels of tyre degradation. Not really something you'd be expecting, but 2 safety cars and some incredible pace helping him out with that here tonight. As out of the pits comes Websey. And Moist on the soft compound tyres picks up another 3-second time penalty as well. So Will Smooth has actually managed to catch back up to the back of FaZe Monkey. I'm not sure whether that's just tyres having another slide out of turn 20, this time not so bad, but that rear end is really not happy on the back of that Williams car. The tyres are starting to complain. We've got yellow flags out. That could be crucial. That, I think, is Billy Wiz straight on down at turn number 8. No safety car is deployed though, and that is really going to be an unfortunate sight for our drivers up at the front of the field, who would have been praying potentially for a safety car, especially the likes of FaZe Monkey, because that will put him in prime position for victory. Here to the chicane to the inside comes the Williams driver, who sends it across, cuts the track slightly. FaZe Monkey also straight across the gravel, and that could cost him. Here comes SD2406, looks to the inside in towards turn 8. Will Smooth is through, but a 6-second penalty will cost him, and contact between FaZe Monkey and SD2406. The Alpine driver unable to make that move stick, but FaZe Monkey struggling in this final stint, losing seconds a lap, might still potentially drop out of that penalty range. And also under pressure from the Alpine to come as well, might also see him losing another position as well. Important things playing out here. Another one to watch, I think, as well. Someone who's kind of gone under the radar. Sprint F1 has quite a big tyre advantage. 8 laps compared to most of these drivers. 11 to Will Smooth. It's only 2 seconds off the back of Cook, who's then only 2 seconds further off the back of the battle that we're watching at the moment. If that tyre advantage is still there, could be on with a shot for a potential top 5 finish, maybe? At this rate, if he can keep things up, make some quick overtakes and find his way through. You can see him coming into the back of your shot just there as we make our way out of the final corner. Another tap of the wall there for the McLaren of FaZe Monkey. And ST2406 doing his best to stick right on the back of the McLaren, although very strong out of that corner. A Sprint picks up a 3-second time penalty. Everything that I've just said thrown completely out the window, because it doesn't matter if he makes those overtakes, he's still going to lose those positions unless he's able to pull more than a 3-second gap. New Panda Joker and C156 battling here towards the first corner side by side, even on the tyres for these two drivers. New Panda has the inside line, squeezes his way through, but Joker almost pushing the Alpine through the corner. Might be thinking about another overtake to come down towards turn number 6. Gaining on the back of the Alpine, not enough though, heading into the corner. Gonna have to tuck back in, set themselves up on another lap, maybe at a different location on this very lap. 27 of 29. Time is running out for the drivers. FaZe Monkey is now 3 seconds off the back of Will Smooth. 6 seconds required to break that penalty window. Doesn't seem to be coming just yet, unfortunately. Another tap of the wall there for the McLaren as well. ST2406 gets close, heading through turn number 20. And now you can really see how much Sprint has caught up to the back of Cook. Might have a chance to try and make that move, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to be worth anything, because with just 2 laps of racing left to go here at the Madrid, he's not going to have the time to pull that penalty away, as Billy Wiz picks up a double penalty for corner cutting there. He's currently down in P15. Down in towards the chicane, almost side by side there. Sprint getting very, very close to the back of Cook here. Might be thinking about a move on the brakes here, looking to the inside, potentially in towards turn 8. Going to back out of that one. A tap of the wall though, that could give a chance through this middle sector. Sprint's going to have to take his opportunities when they come. Having so much fresher tyres, he's going to have that pace advantage. Of course, maybe this is the chance. Goes a little bit wider through the banking than the Aston Martin driver, losing time as a result, but they've also lost time to the Cadillac in front, dropping outside the 1 second range. Could it be a last lap dance for Sprint F1 to make a sprint through with the overtake mode available for himself and not for the Aston Martin? We're gaining towards 17, applying that pressure still. ST2406 yet to be able to make that move stick to try and get himself up into the podium positions, and the gap between himself, FaZe Monkey and Will Smooth is extending as well, looking to the inside in towards 20 for the Williams driver. Nothing coming just yet, bit of a slide on the exit as we get ready to start the final lap of racing here at the Madrid. Wide for Cook, could this be a chance towards the final corner? Not quite going to work out. Overtake not for Cook, but will be for Sprint, and that's going to be a benefit on this final lap of the race as we head down towards turn 1. Here comes the Williams driver looking to the inside, not going to get the move done in the first corner. Maybe with better tyres, a better exit through this next corner. It's not for position come the end of the race, but just for pure pride here. Sprint F1 a 10th of a second off the back of Cook, gaining towards the chicane. They're both running low on battery, looking to the inside here for the Williams driver. Is he going to be brave on the brakes by the time they reach the corner? Cook sticks it around but cuts the track, and a 3-second time penalty, and now this is a battle for track position. 3 seconds on the board for the Aston Martin. If Sprint can find this overtake on the final lap of this race, it would find him an extra position here in this race. Crucially as well, FaZe Monkey 5.4 seconds off the back of Will Smooth with a 6-second penalty coming into play. This very well still could be a podium, and in fact as it stands will be a podium for the Williams driver. And here the Williams driver comes to the inside into 13. Cook goes defensive, he tried the move, ran out of battery, switch back though through 13, and there goes Sprint F1 to take that position back on the final lap of the race. A 3-second penalty for Cook coming into play is going to cost him dearly here tonight. Up at the front of the field though, Wash Leopold, he comes comes through the final few corners. Nothing washed about this man here tonight. He makes his way through, and he will take the inaugural victory here at the Madrid. A great drive, taking victory here tonight. Spins it across the line. Incredible stuff from the VCARB driver. Will Smooth will come home, and it isn't going to be second place. It's going to be tight as we file our way through the final corner. 6-second penalty. The gap is 6.2. Will Smooth hangs on for that P2 position. FaZe Monkey in third. ST2406 comes home in fourth. Paulie in fifth. Sprint F1 with a late charge and a penalty coming into play for Cook. Picks up P6. Cook in P7. MPA3 Gamer, after a terrible start to this race, not the best qualifying, facing backwards at one point down at turn 20. He comes through to take P8. Noot Panda will file his way through. On the track it's going to be P9, but 12 seconds of penalty to him. 13 seconds for Joker is going to see C156 in the Red Bull through to P9. Joker down to P11. Noot Panda will pick up that final position in the top 10. Websy in the Mercedes. 3 seconds of penalties for him, 12 seconds off the back as well. He comes home in P12. Next will be Ben Wow in 13th. And then unfortunately, the driver who looked so strong, Yari, fighting at the front. Unfortunately, wheel issues for the Audi driver, costing him dearly here tonight. Could not take any further part. Two drivers finishing a lap down here tonight as well. But what an incredible race. What an incredible battle we had on the final lap as well. Things literally being decided in the final few sectors of this race here at the Madrid. A flip on the podium there for the VCARB driver as he takes the Spanish Grand Prix here in the OWLS Esports Racing League here tonight. Incredible stuff. Williams and McLaren sharing the podium with him as well here tonight. But there we go. Wash Leopold with the victory. Will Smooth coming home in second. FaZe Monkey in third position. Then ST2406 in the Alpine. Paulie in fifth. Sprint in P6. Cook in P7. MPA3 Gamer P8. That is your top two in the championship, finishing 7th and 8th. That's going to be great for those up at the front of the field. Leopold saying in the Discord chat, well, that's redemption for Singapore. An incredible inspired drive from him. C156 comes home in P9, Noot Panda in P10, Joker in 11th, Websy in 12th, Ben Wow in 13th, Yari 14th, and then one lap down was Moist and Billy Wiz. Agent Sinyo, DNF, couple of crashes out there, eventually took his front wing off and could not make it to the end. And Rory, who also parks up down at turn 8 with a damaged front wing, could not get the car going. And then MH1463, a retirement, I believe, on just the second lap of the race. A big crash we had down at the turn 5 and 6 chicane. But what an incredible way to kick things off here at the Madrid. Incredible racing for all of our drivers here tonight. And I have to say, that track, if it's going to be like that in real life, we are in for an absolute treat once we do reach the track in, I believe, September in real life. Hopefully we see some incredible racing like we saw tonight, a bit of carnage as well. That would be absolutely amazing. But yeah, that is going to spice things up in the championship. I'm going to have a quick look. I'll bring it up on screen for you as well. There we go. The Drivers' Championship, Leopold currently on 18 points with 25 scored for him. That is going to jump him right up there towards the front of the field. Yari in third also, and no points being scored for him. Yeah, this is really going to spice things up. The top two are going to close up a little bit. Leopold going to jump through up into second. Yeah, an incredible result. As for our constructors as well, not a really strong showing for our Constructors' Championship leader, neither for our second place team, nor for our third place team either, to be honest. In fact, a lot of teams here have struggled here tonight, and Racing Bulls, before this race, the only team without a single point on the board, come home with a victory. So yeah, very nice stuff there for them. But that has been our 29 laps here at the Madrid here tonight. Thank you everybody for joining us here tonight in the OWLS Racing League. We will be back next time out. Let's have a quick look at the calendar. It is Jeddah that we are headed to on the 5th of July. Then we got Interlagos, Montreal, Mexico, Baku, Bahrain, Shanghai, Miami, and Suzuka to round things off for round 12 at the end of August on the 30th. That's the right button. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining us here tonight. Incredible racing. Big congratulations to Leopold for the race win here tonight. I have been Josh Richards, and we will see you all again very soon. Take care, and bye-bye.